I'm going to be quilting very slowly, and I'm going to be using the width of the presser foot as my width between rows of stitches. Let's see how it goes. Take it all the way to the edge, leave the needle in, lift up the presser foot and swing it around. I roll up the quilt on the right side so that it doesn't move. Gentle meander. Here what I can do is, you see this little ridge here, what I can do is I can pull it a little bit to help keep it flat. I press on it to keep it flat. Get to the end, leave the needle in, lift up the presser foot and turn it around and keep going. Again, you can see there's like a little wave, so what I do is I just pull it and I keep my presser foot more or less close to or on the previous stitch. It's not perfect, it's freehand quilting. Keep going. I like the way the orange looks. Here, lay it down flat. You have to keep using your fingers. Pull it a little bit and continue. Make sure that it's flat. Okay, leave it in and continue. Later on, if there's the gap between the two quilting lines is too wide, I can start and I can add an additional line. I'll see that at the end. Just going on, gently curving it, which also gives a nice wavy look. Get to the end, leave it in, and keep going. It's kind of meditative. I want to pull it and make sure that it's flat so they don't have creases or bumps in it. Lift the presser foot and keep going. Getting closer to the next pin. I will be taking the pin out before I quilt over there. I'm going to pull it again and flatten it here with my fingers. I smooth it out as I go along. It's a small quilt, so I don't need gloves. Just pressing and pulling, slowly and gently. Here, there's a lump, so I need to flatten it. So I flatten it and place pressure with both of my hands and pull this here gently and just meander along. I hate when that happens, when the thread breaks. At least it broke when I was at the end of the row, and now I have to rethread. And another thing that's important to check is that you have enough thread in the bobbin. You don't want the bobbin thread, the bottom thread, to finish when you're in the middle of the quilt. So I'm going to check it now. Now I'm going to stitch around the edge as close to the edge as I possibly can, just to make sure that none of the quilting threads come loose. I take my folded strip for the binding, I open it up, and you can see the ironing lines. I'm going to be lining this side up with the edge of the quilt from the back over the triangle, and I'm going to be sewing on this line. I don't have to pin it in place. Practice makes perfect. I line it up and I make sure it's lined up with the edge all the time, and I stitch in my ironing line. All the way to the edge, double stitch in place, and take it out. I'll be cutting it now, and I'll be measuring the other side according to this side strip. I did measure the top and the bottom. They are even, they're 28.5 centimeters, but I'll be cutting the strip exactly the same size as this strip, and if there's a difference, I'll be stretching it a little bit. Take the binding now on my ironed line, I fold it over. You can pin it, I don't. And I'm going to be stitching as close to the edge of the binding as I possibly can. 1-2 stitches to hold it in place. I fold it, and then I'm going to hold it, and I'm going to work very slowly, and I'm using as a guide the inner side of my presser foot. I'm taking the binding and making sure that it touches the inner side of the presser foot as I work. My eyes are here. If I feel it's getting out of control, I'll stop, continue holding it down. Again, you can pin, I don't. And I'm working very, very slowly. I'll stop for a minute and take a look at what's happening in the back. Perfect. Okay. I keep going. Don't lose patience here. It's not a long strip of binding. Continuing. Making sure it's straight and lined up nicely. And I want to be stitching here. Slowly. If I miss it, then I can correct it without taking the whole thing apart. I need to do a few hand stitches. That has been known to happen. I'll hold it down here and double stitch at the back. One side is done. This is the only tricky part with the side binding pieces. What I need to do is I need to fold this in such a way so that it closes the edge here and I don't have too much bulk. So I've cut a little bit away here. I fold it in at an angle. I fold it down over the edge and I pull it down a little bit. And then what I do is I just hold the bulk inside. I take it and I fold it over. Press it down a little bit. And now it looks like a nice clean edge. And I'm not going to pin this side. When I do the bottom, I'll pin it. I'm going to start sewing here. I'll leave a tail and then I'll use the tail to stitch in by hand at the end here. Okay, when I get to the bottom, I'm going to need to fold this. So what I do is I fold it up, I push it in, fold it, and bring the folded edge over. This is what it looks like. I might pull it up a little bit more because the presser foot pushes the fabric down towards me, and then it'll make it longer and it will go over the edge. So I can bring it up a little bit. Okay, this feels right now. Here you can see. And I'm going to continue sewing. And let's hope that it's okay. Keep holding it. I'll stop here and look what's going on. It looks okay. It's going to push it over the edge here. I'll leave a tail now. And I think it's quite okay. Here we are. That's the edge. Quite pleased with it.